A long time ago, I went to an arcade that had an original Pac-Man arcade game. I really wanted to play it, but sadly, I already ran out of quarters. And so, I never got to play the original cabinet in all its glory. However, there was still hope. A company named Tastemakers started making new models of old arcade cabinets under the name Arcade1up. One of these cabinets happened to be Pac-Man. When I first heard about it, I knew I needed to get it. Eventually I did buy one, but I didn't buy the regular version of the Arcade1up Pac-Man cabinet. Oh no. Instead, I bought the Arcade1up Pac-Man bundle from Costco. Was it worth paying the price of $350? Is it faithful to the original arcade cabinet from the 80s? All of that will be answered in this review. As you can see, I've already assembled mine. And at first it may look like the regular Arcade1up Pac-Man cabinet, but if you look closely, you can see that the plexiglass is installed. This is meant for just in case you accidentally rub the artwork off. So this is to make sure that doesn't happen. While you can install these on the original Arcade1up Pac-Man cabinets, you have to buy this separately. But with the Costco bundle, this came with it. Another add-on that was also included is the riser. What it does is it makes this cabinet taller, so it'll be almost as tall as the original arcade cabinet from the 80s. And the good thing is you could easily just take the cabinet off the riser and it'll be shorter again. This may look like a regular old marquee, but if I turn it on, you're gonna love this. It actually lights up. This is something the original Arcade1up cabinet never did. On the original monitors that Arcade1up used to use, the screens were honestly not that great. The black background looked sort of bluish, and if you were to look at it from an angle, it would get even more blue. But as you can see, that's not the case with this one. This screen is completely different, and it's from a different company, and it looks really good. It looks not that great on camera, but believe me, in person, it looks gorgeous. One of my personal favorite things that this arcade cabinet came with is the stool. It looks really good. Here, I'll show you the top. So that's what the top of the stool looks like. It looks really good. And it's actually very comfortable to sit on. It's actually at the perfect height for something that tall. Now, what about the overall look, you may be wondering? Well, as you can probably tell, it looks a lot like the original cabinet from the 80s. Well, that is except for the bottom portion of the front. Here it shows the two games that are built into the cabinet. So, it may not look that great on camera, but in person, the side art looks beautiful. It's super crisp. Well, same goes for everything else, actually. When you turn this thing on, the lighted marquee also turns on, and then you get a loading screen that's only 5 seconds long, and then you get a cool boot animation. Then you're taken to the game select screen. I think I'm just going to pick regular Pac-Man for now, so I'm just going to push here, then it shows you the controls, then I'm going to push it again, and it'll actually start the game. Or at least it'll load up the arcade ROM. Yeah, so that's something I gotta point out. I'm pretty sure that this is simply a slightly modified arcade ROM. And what I mean by slightly modified is that, first off, it's automatically set to free play mode, and secondly, the text down here has changed. In terms of the gameplay, there's not a whole lot to say. It's definitely Pac-Man. Notice this volume switch. When the switch is moved all the way to the left, the game is muted. When I move this to the middle, the sound turns on. It's like it's in its medium volume. But if I were to move it again, it would go like in the loudest volume possible. Also, notice that the speaker is a mono speaker, which I guess that makes sense, because, well, Pac-Man didn't really use stereo, so what's the big deal? This control panel looks a lot like the same control panel that you would find in the original cabinet from the 80s. The joystick, which actually doesn't feel bad, it actually feels alright. And the buttons, which, you know, they definitely do feel kind of cheap, but you know, they work well and they haven't broken down on me. Honestly, I'd say these controls are perfectly fine. I see nothing wrong with them. So, do I think this is very authentic? Well, I would say so. I mean, it uses the arcade ROM, uses the same controls, and it's got a lot of the same artwork from the original cabinet from the 80s. So, do I think this is worth $350? Yes. Yes, I do. Now, who exactly is this product for? Well, I think it's for people who want an arcade cabinet in their home, people who want to show their kids what arcade games they played back then, and for people who are hardcore fans of Pac-Man. Overall, I give this entire bundle a 9.5 out of 10. It's not perfect, but it's really good. Well, that's it for the review. Hope you all enjoyed this. Now, if you guys have any questions regarding this bundle, then feel free to comment down below.